So welcome today. Thank you for joining the webinar. Looking into Splunk and also the SAP PowerConnect for Splunk, which is a SoftwareONE solution. My name is James Astley. I'm the Solutions Director at Somerford Associates, and today I'm joined by Marcel, who's one of the Senior SAP Solution Specialists at SoftwareONE, who's going to be going into a bit more detail about PowerConnect and how we can leverage that and utilize that within the Splunk platform, but also some of the more premium applications as well. Looking into Splunk ITSI, which is where Grace is going to jump in, who's our head of support and one of our senior sales engineers at Somerford. If we want to click through to the next slide. Lovely. So, as I said, the bulk of the session today is going to be really getting into the actual solution and focusing on some of the key areas and the challenges that PowerConnect looks to address and how that ties into Splunk. But very briefly, so why Somerford and why PowerConnect? What are we seeing today and why is this relevant? Demand is the simple one. We see a large number of organizations who utilize SAP platforms, both on-prem but also the SaaS offerings, and a increasing demand to be able to pull information out of SAP, be able to carve it up and utilize it against use cases that are specific to different teams within the business. Now, that can be from security, compliance, but also just ensuring the actual operation of the platform, ensuring good health. So demand was the first reason that we looked at PowerConnect and saw how we could form a partnership with the team. From Somerford's point of view, we're one of the largest Splunk resellers and implementation partners in the EMEA. So where we had this increased demand, where organizations were having challenges with getting access and pulling telemetry data out of SAP, PowerConnect just became the most logical and obvious answer in order to the ability to actually get access to the data, and where we could then have support our large customer base in use cases that were becoming more and more prevalent. With that, Somerford have an in-house team of technical consultants who have the necessary skills to be able to leverage PowerConnect. So it's just pretty critical. So it's having the skills on both sides. And we work in partnership and conjunction with PowerConnect and part of SoftwareONE. And from a PowerConnect point of view, why PowerConnect? PowerConnect is the only SAP certified Splunk connector in the market, and more specifically, looking across some of the SaaS offerings from SAP, that's pretty integral, really. So it is certified. It is the market leading connector and the only connector that can actually allow us to pull that information out, but then pull it into a platform like Splunk to be able to make real value and get the insights and the metrics from SAP, which can typically be a little bit tricky. I think it's fair to say. So with that, it just seemed like a really strong story and a very strong partnership between Somerford and PowerConnect. It is already starting to help resonate with some of our customers and how we can support them. And we're very excited to see how that progresses. We can go on to the next slide. Just very quickly, in terms of Somerford, just sort of looking across, where we are and our people and our customers and solutions. If we click through, lovely. As I mentioned previously, Somerford are an elite reseller and implementation partner for Splunk. It just gives out some of the core expertise within the organization that we have in-house, allows us to leverage skills, but mainly to support our customers. So from an in-house support desk, that we actually manage to triage up to 90% of support calls without further escalation up to Splunk, which brings huge value to our customers. But also having the ability to run deep dive health checks and reviews of organizations' implementations, really understand some of the challenges that are being experienced, which ties back into where we saw this relationship with PowerConnect. The challenges that were being seen with SAP were becoming more and more prevalent, and the solution that's being constructed that allows us to fix that with SAP PowerConnect just seemed very logical. If we go to the next slides. I won't linger too long on this, just purely because we want to get stuck into the meat of the session. But on screen now are just some of the other solutions that are available with Somerford, all of which we have full in-house technical capability. That's running end-to-end from pre-sales through to running proof of values, proof of concepts, through to implementation, post-sale support, and process and support back end. So actually taking that technology through obviously implementation configuration, but actually how to roll it out and support it and look at how you actually build sustainable target operating models for each of these technologies. So there's some of our key relationships on screen there. And finally, just to give a flavour in terms of the sort of vibrant and diverse sort of customer base within Somerford. We do sit across a lot of commercial FTSE 100, FTSE 250 accounts, but we also have a dedicated public sector team operating very, very widely across the aerospace, defence, intelligence, and central government, NHS, and higher education. So it really isn't a vertical sort of specialism as per se at Somerford. We just help organisations with their problems aligned to the solutions that we can support. And without further ado, we'll get stuck into the bit which everyone's joined today for. And really excited to pass across to Marcel to start going into a bit more detail about SAP PowerConnect.
Thanks, James. Hello, everyone. I want to tell you anything about PowerConnect that is can be seen as a basis for PowerConnect. So you could see this as a teaser for upcoming webinars, hopefully. Just talking about me, I'm a solution specialist for SAP and a sales engineer responsible for all our customers in EMEA at SoftwareONE. And yeah, exclusively responsible for PowerConnect. So in my role, I want to show you some basics about PowerConnect today. So first of all, a quick overview, some impression for you, what's in for you as a customer, the major use cases we see, and probably you see more than that, and a little bit about licensing and about ITSI, Service Intelligence for SAP. And hopefully we have some time for a question and answer, and hopefully there are any questions in the end. So let's proceed and start with the overview. So, but what's PowerConnect actually? So PowerConnect is some kind of framework connecting both worlds, SAP and Splunk. And why is this necessary? Because SAP, some kind of silo. So they achieved to get a special status in the IT world, like IBM, like Oracle, the last 30 years, I would say. And they have a dedicated environment, a dedicated ecosystem with own software products, own consultants, own consultant companies, managed service providers, and so on and so on. Everything and any of them specialized to SAP only. And the same applies to the tooling. Means if you're working with SAP, nothing gets in, nothing gets out, and it's hard to break these barriers. And this is what we want to try with PowerConnect. So our goal is to have a holistic view on data in your company, on monitoring in your company, of infrastructure in your company, monitored and managed by tools like Splunk. And for that, we provided this framework, which is called PowerConnect, and which can be customized on SAP side and can be customized on Splunk side. That just in tickles, because it's not only just, it's a huge effort to get all the data from SAP. It's a lot of knowledge and a lot of reverse engineering that was needed to develop this product, since SAP doesn't give it out for free. And that's a benefit actually. So you can get the data from SAP put it into Splunk, and can incorporate this data with any other data you collect in Splunk. And this is the real benefit. So you can correlate SAP data with non-SAP data to get just what you see insight, more insight into your data, into your monitoring, into your whatever. That's the main benefit and the main goal for PowerConnect. So how does this work in general? So we collect data on SAP level and we upload the data. This is being done by a tool, a program that runs as an add-on in SAP NetWeaver or SAP S/4HANA mainly. And it's installed via a tool called Sane. So interfaces of SAP are being leveraged, and so it's certified by SAP as well. In Splunk, then, once uploaded the data can be viewed and processed. So we have a data in Splunk, but also a Splunk app that allows us to view the data we send over in predefined dashboards that are available in our standard delivery out of the box. To dig a little bit deeper into it is what happens in the first step. So we have so-called extractors, and these extractors get the data from outside, transaction in SAP, tables, function modules, iDocs, or the database management system. This data then is being stored in the temp table within the database schema of SAP, from where it is sent to Splunk via a HTTP event collector connection that needs to be defined on Splunk side actually. So what happens is that we take the temp table data, put it to Splunk. Once it is uploaded to Splunk, it's deleted again, and the temp table is vanished, or the data is vanished, and you can proceed with the next data set. So once on Splunk side, we have a number of predefined dashboards using and leveraging this data. And for any data that you can see in presentation of a dashboard, you can dig deep into the search and see what happens there. So everything is transparent, and you can even create your own dashboards and work with the data. And this actually is the main benefit from my perspective. So did you have the data that usually is stored in SAP only? Suddenly you have it in Splunk and can work with this data and can connect it to other data sets that are independent of SAP. So the high-level architecture of PowerConnect is like that. So we support NetWeaver, the old-fashioned product of SAP that runs out of support until 2026, and S/4HANA, the successor of it. So we currently have two different SAP products that actually do the same on the market, since we are in some kind of transition phase. In the core, we see again that we extract the data out of different sources and support different databases that are supported by SAP. For S/4HANA, as the name tells you, it's only SAP HANA. For SAP HANA, we have two flavors. One is the on-premise variant. The other one is the S/4HANA Cloud. And both of them are supported, whereas the S/4HANA Cloud has some limitations, since SAP manages this as a software as a service approach. Your Splunk side is can be as you design it. It's your architecture. We can deal with it. We can use multiple indexes. We can use multiple different Splunk instances. Can send data almost anywhere. there are a lot of possibilities. The only thing we cannot do is we cannot split up data and send it to different indexes, but that's quite a rare case, I would say. So lots of our customers are interested on an impact, since eventually they will install this add-on, this tool on their productive SAP system. So for them, it's important to know what happens on their productive system. First of all, I told you it's a supported product, so we use dedicated interfaces of SAP. No problem at all. You don't need to be anxious about that. And all the system impact, of course, is limited as well, since it's a small program running into the SAP system. And then in turn, it depends on if you have a distributed environment with a separate database and a separate application server, or separate application servers, or if you have a central system combining database and application server in on one host. This, of course, influences the data and the performance impact. Yeah, it's for CPU, it's roughly 1 to 2% overhead that you need for PowerConnect, so it's limited. And the effect on the work processes running in the SAP system is quite low as well, including the memory utilization of it. It's just a slight overhead of assumedly 100 megabytes. So you can just dismiss this one. Disk utilization, I mentioned it, is quite low as well, since we always flush our temp table on a regular basis, and this is not a problem at all. Network might be more a hiccup on your network than a real impact, I would say. More interesting for lots of our customers is the impact on Splunk license, and I can say it depends. So I cannot give you a certain number of on that, since it heavily depends on your use case, the frequency of data transmission. It's highly custom. You can tweak it on your own, and the number of extractors you use. You probably won't use any extractor that's available. So, for example, we have extractors for Oracle database and we have extractors for Java database. You might not use both of them in parallel. Or depends on if you're using, as a use case, if you're using a security approach only, or if you're doing performance monitoring as well. Might be different data transmission. So we typically notice a daily amount of 10 gigabyte per day data which is ingested into Splunk. So just count with this number. It's just a rule of thumb, I would say. But in reality, we need to dig deeper into this and need to look what's your use case, how do you want to configure the program, and which extractors you might want to use. And this could be found out in a POC, for example. So what's in for our customers? We have a broad support of SAP software, and not only NetWeaver and S4HANA, what I told you. NetWeaver-based systems are supported, and S4HANA is supported, as well as BW for HANA, for example. Both on-prem on cloud version with certain restrictions on the cloud version. NetWeaver implicitly means NetWeaver Application Server ABAP and Application Server Java. We have two different programs, one for ABAP, one for Java, and we as well support products like SAP Business Object Suite, which can be leveraged by installing a PowerConnect instance on a Tomcat server and access it from there. We also support cloud services of SAP. The upcoming technology SAP wants to leverage means, for example, SAP HR module is successed by SuccessFactors, and we're working on supporting these types of product as well. However, we can only support it on an API level. Means SAP publishes an API, and we are implementing this API, and this is depending on your requirements and your needs, and we need to discuss about that before telling you if we could fulfill your request. So for a USP and value proposition, I would tell you 4 points. The first one is we're fully SAP certified. As far as I know, we are the only solution that is fully certified for both NetWeaver and S/4HANA, and even for the SAP managed version, means S/4HANA Cloud, or how it was called for HEC HANA Enterprise Cloud. This is quite unique, and this is important just for us for marketing reasons, but for you for support reasons. Means if you open a ticket at the SAP support and you tell them, yeah, I have a problem with this and that, they will ask you, yeah, there is a third-party product. Please tell me that this is not the reason, and you won't get into this discussion since we have a certified product. So SAP told us, yes, we support this product as well, and it's developed according to certain rules and certain interfaces. Second one is holistic monitoring for both for your SAP silo and for your non-SAP environment. So you can bring both worlds together and do a holistic monitoring approach, which is quite desirable from my point of view. Then we have our nice Splunk app, which gives you lots of visualizations that bring you forward, since most of the tasks that you need to do in an SAP environment on an SAP basis level are digging into text-based logs or tree views and lots of stuff that is everything but not intuitive. And so our visualizations can help you to see your problems quicker than just digging into logs, and just to have an impression on how your system works just on one glance. The fourth point is, and this is what we will talk about later in this webinar, it is Splunk ITSI. And ITSI is some kind of tooling that involves machine learning and artificial intelligence just to predict system problems and outages, so that you can tackle them and that you can work on them before they even happen. And for SAP, we're the only platform that delivers the data. Means if you want to run ITSI, you might want to run PowerConnect as well to include your SAP systems into your holistic view again. All right. So I would say the benefit mainly is a reduced monitoring overhead. Means if you did some work as an SAP basis administrator, you might have your list every morning. You're going through the logs, through the transactions, open transactions, digging into text, digging into trees, or open trees, and whatever you need to do. It's a tedious work, and it's time consuming. With PowerConnect, you can just open a web page in Splunk app and see it just at one glance. It's colored. It's an intuitive view and intuitive dashboards, so you can easily check your system status just in one glance. With that comes reduced downtime and mean time to resolve. So if you can see your problems quicker than just digging into logs, and this is the main goal, just to resolve your problems if they ever happened, or if you can resolve them quicker. With ITSI, for example, you can even avoid them. Another big point, same as for Splunk, as it is for us too, is security. So we provide you with the complete security audit log of SAP with all user action that happens on the system, again, just on one single glance. So you can easily see threats or intrusions or anything that is not like it should be on a security security area. The fourth point in this diagram, I would say, is business process monitoring. So what we enable is we have a monitoring facility for SAP iDocs. iDocs are the exchange format for SAP systems with other SAP systems, but also for SAP systems with non-SAP systems. So there's an interface that is being implemented by and provided by SAP, and other systems can implement it. So most likely you or your customers have non-SAP systems that are connected to SAP systems, and classical monitoring tools from SAP cannot just have a look beyond the border. So what you can do is you can send the data from your non-SAP system to Splunk. You can send the data from your SAP system to Splunk using PowerConnect, and you can correlate the data, and you can work with the data, and can get your as well your monitoring view, but also your insight out of it. So I told you a lot of stuff about that already. So security, one of our major use cases. I would say the majority of our customers approach us with a security issue or a requirement, and so it starts. And when they use PowerConnect, they certainly notice, oh, there's also lots of advantage when using performance monitoring over, for example, or Isinga or HP OpenView or whatever, and they finally leverage these features as well. But starting point in lots of cases is security, where we can get the whole audit log out of SAP and do some predefined report on this log, so you can see what happens in the security area on your system. You can track the authentication of the users, what they are doing, and from where they actually are logging in. So if you have a login in the US and you log in the UK with a difference in time of 5 minutes, there must be something wrong, and so you can check them, and you can close the security threat. So you can monitor almost everything regarding users. So failed user logins, successful user logins, logins with users that are in a elevated role, means SAP star or a DDIC user, for example, which shouldn't be used actually for logging into SAP systems, and lots of anomalies like I told you before. This can be viewed quite easily in just one or two screens. Performance and stability. Usually people tell us, yes, but we have solution manager, we have this and that. Yeah, these are good monitoring tools, but they are good in their own scope. What we use is an advanced scope, means we want to have a good visualization. We want to have a data that can be correlated with other data in the system or in your Splunk system, and we can almost monitor everything that's performance related in SAP. So we can leverage stat values, workload monitor values, and especially real-time and historic data. So you can look on your historic data, see what happened in the past, and you can try to avoid to reproduce situations that are unwanted. And ITSI, for example, does exactly that. They just avoid the situations by telling you that these situations are currently happening. And yeah, that's it. And one specialty is, for example, that SAP from time to time or with ongoing time aggregates the data, so it gets more and more unprecise. What we do is we pull the data away before it's being aggregated, and you can keep it in Splunk as long as you want to. This is not possible to set at SAP. So with ongoing time, your data gets imprecise in the SAP system, but your data keeps the same in Splunk. This is a big advantage for you, especially if you want to use your data for purposes like ITSI, or just want to keep historic data to investigate if something went wrong. Third major use case, but actually it isn't a use case, it's a multiple use cases. So business processes, this is a highly custom story. So we can investigate all the messages that go out of the SAP system via the interfaces and that come back. So you can see the contents of iDocs, you can see timestamps and anything, and you can correlate the data with other data of systems that are connected to your SAP system. This is quite important, since you want to probably know what happens in SAP and want to do some report and want to work with the data. There are multiple situations. I have a customer actually who has a SAP system that includes and incorporates all the prices of his retail markets, and the retail markets have roughly about 30,000 products that they sell, and have a price tag for any of these. So they want to ensure that the price tag for the products is always the same like the price which is in the SAP system, and therefore accounted at the counter. And they ensure a nearly 100% fit of these prices by incorporating the printers attached to the price printing app that is connected to SAP, which is quite important for them, especially as they can run some reports out of it and can gain additional insights. And currently they are investigating further business cases where they can leverage PowerConnect for that. So it's PowerConnect or Splunk don't need to be used as a monitoring platform only. So it can be used as a real multi-purpose data platform. And PowerConnect can deliver the data for this multi-purpose data platform. So lots of customers like to talk about licensing. Okay, you as a Splunk customer, you might be used to a license fee that is oriented on data ingestion. We don't have something comparable. What we have is a subscription-based license. So a license that is paid annually, and it includes software, maintenance, and support. So just one price for paid any year with a pre-commit of 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years. The next step of licensing is that any of your productive SAP systems must be licensed. The non-productive SAP systems means development system, quality systems, sandboxes, training systems, whatever, are implicitly licensed with PowerConnect. with the production system. There are also dependencies on the system type. So classical SAP systems like ECC, transactional SAP systems like ECC, S4HANA, CRM, SRM, SCM, and so on, can be found in Tier 1. Supportive systems like BW, POPI, like, for example, Fiori, can be found in Tier 2 and are slightly cheaper. Supportive system or administrative system like Solution Manager or SAP Landscape Manager are in Tier 3 and are heavily cheaper than a productive license for ECC, for example. For the transactional systems, there's another metric, and it's the SAP users. Means 5,000 named SAP users are included in the license. If you have more than 5,000 users, every 10,000 users must be licensed additionally. Means with an additional fee based on the production license. Yeah, but if you're interested in that, we can talk about that, of course. Just contact me or just contact your contacts at Somerford. And yeah, you can also do a POC, which is free and which contains a temp license of 45 days. So just ask us. So let's talk about Service Intelligence for SAP, which actually is the SAP implementation for ITSI, means IT Service Intelligence for Splunk. And yeah, I would pass the talking part to Grace.
Thank you so much, Marcel. If you could just go ahead and skip to the next slide. Perfect, you read my mind. Now, when we're dealing with SAP, of course, the average cost of downtime is very, very high, and Splunk have averaged it to be around about $336,000 an hour, which is, I mean, if you think about that in terms of a few hours of outage, that can really sting. Now, Splunk actually have created a brand new and literally just kind of shown at Global Partner Summit last week, a new add-on for IT Service Intelligence, which is specifically for SAP Solutions. And this provides end-to-end views into the health and performance of your business services and can really accelerate the time it takes for you to detect and respond to costly outages by up to 80 to 90% we've seen with our current customers. So as you can see, ITSI really focuses on making it easier to pinpoint the individual problems and also lets you see a rolled up view as well. Now, the views that you're seeing on the presentation now are the normal service intelligence analyzers that you might be used to seeing in ITSI if you're already a customer, or if you've seen a demo of ITSI before, this might be a familiar screen. Now, on top of this, Splunk is now able to provide service intelligence views specifically for SAP Solutions. And this has a specific service analyzer tree for SAP and all of the different products and services that you use within it, whether those are transactional or otherwise. And it also has its own service health dashboard with hundreds of SAP metrics and KPIs already pre-built for you. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make the service analyzers up yourself. We do now have an out-of-the-box add-on for that. Now, this also allows you to review these in something like on screen now, which is a glass table style view. So of course you can not only just use the out of the box dashboards, but you can use the built up services and those individual KPIs to actually provide you a really nice topology of what you're doing, and also provide you with better service intelligence into those SAP transactions. Now, this can also help with your mean time to repair and mean time to investigate, because you can create a correlated view of all of your SAP applications as well as your infrastructure, whether that's on-premise, cloud, or hybrid. It can also help you prevent any outages, and of course, we've been through how costly those are, so you can try and mitigate against those by actually having proactive alerting ahead of time when it starts seeing, those kind of warning signs that might mean that SAP is having some problems, or potentially the hardware that you're running SAP on is having an issue. There's also a piece that I wanted to discuss, which again is part of the new solution, which is actually the fact that Splunk can now help you also if any customers are looking at migrating from on-prem SAP to cloud. And we actually have some dashboards and reports to provide you peace of mind when you're moving SAP systems, to make sure that you have real visibility into your migration process, and also can see performance-wise, how things are doing versus on-premise and cloud. So that was my little brief intro into ITSI. If you do want to see more about the SAP intelligence for ITSI, then just again, either give your account manager a email or a call, or you can give me a call and I'm more than happy to set it up for you. We do have a demo of it up and running now, so we would love to show you it.
Great, thanks, Grace. You see, there's a lot of inside the solution in the total, especially if when we're talking about ITSI, or how our part is called SI for SAP. It's a great story, and it can help you just to avoid downtime situations on your SAP systems, which are usually mission critical systems that often run 24/7. And of course, it's not desirable to have unplanned outages, and these outages can cost a multiple of the software licenses for an ITSI or PowerConnect. So think about that. All right, I want to open this session for question and answers. I hope there are any that we can answer.
Yeah, the one that came through, Marcel, just asking from an implementation standpoint, how easy is it to implement SAP PowerConnect to then be able to leverage your existing Splunk investments?
Quite easy. So we talked about two sides of the medal. It means we have Splunk side, which is being done in roughly an hour, I would say. You need to create an SAP index, one or more SAP indexes. You need to create the hack connection, the HTTP event collector, and you need to provide a user with a dedicated role. So this can be done within an hour, I would say. What you need to do on the SAP side is you need to install the program on ABAP or Java, and you need to configure it, and this must be done per SAP system. Means for any SAP systems, I would say you're done within 45 minutes to 1.5 hours, I would say. So it's quite easy to establish the data flow between SAP and Splunk. So it's rather a matter of days than of weeks or months. So unlikely to take longer time, and not comparable to other SAP solutions, especially.
Fantastic. And the other one I had was with regards to the capability integration with Splunk. SAP PowerConnect, the question here was integratable with the existing enterprise version of Splunk, but also Splunk Cloud, the SaaS offering. which obviously I know the answer to that one. So for anyone asking that, that is available on both. So
Yes.
Either flavor.
Splunk Cloud.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, if anyone does have any more questions, please do feel free to reach out to us. You can reach directly into Somerford and Marcel, and we can pick up that information for you and come back to you. I hope you enjoyed the overview today of SAP PowerConnect and how you can leverage that with your Splunk investments. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on our next webinar.
Thank you. Thank you for participating. Have a good day.